Hi, this is Mike Regan with TranzAct's 2-Minute Warning for the week of February 24th. Recently, I was honored to be named one of the supply chain pros to know by one of the industry publications, Supply Chain Demand Executive. And so I got a nice follow-up email from a friend of mine, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Supply Chain Pro to know, I saw your recent 2-minute warning where you talked about fuel surcharges and the carrier capacity and what that could mean for our transportation budgets. Why don't you take some of that supply chain knowledge that you're supposed to know about and give us some tips on some things that we can do to reduce our transportation cost?" Now, over the years, we've covered many of these topics, but in this 2-minute warning, we want to go back and just look at a couple of these things that many different progressive companies are really looking at in an effort to constrain or reduce their transportation and logistic costs. The first thing that a lot of companies are doing is to take a look at their purchasing and sales practices and deciding whether or not there are certain things they can do to tweak these processes in order to achieve some savings by consolidating their freight. Now, what happens when we're able to consolidate our freight, obviously, is it opens up some mode shifting opportunities. So we can go from parcel to LTL, LTL to truckload, or you can take a look at alternative modes of transportation, such as whether intermodal moves start to make sense for you. The second thing we want to encourage you to do is to take a look at your carrier base. Now, having been in this business for quite a long time, it was not uncommon, especially during the 90s, for a lot of companies to get very aggressive in implementing a core carrier program. And under this program, we wanted to consolidate the number of carriers that we were doing business with in order to increase the business and perhaps the leverage and better pricing that these carriers would then offer to shippers. Now, what we're seeing as we go forward, though, is while the core carrier program can be very important, a lot of companies are getting smarter and looking at expanding the number of carriers they're doing business with so that each and every carrier has freight that's moving in desirable lanes. We call this lane matching and have demonstrated that companies who aggressively pursue common sense lane matching alternatives can in fact get better pricing. Now, the third thing we want to also look at is what we're asking the carriers to do, because to the extent that we're asking carriers to do things that cost more money, it's going to result in higher rates. Now, with each and every 2-minute warning, we're here to remind you we are on your team and we're here to help, and we have a wealth of information that we can share with you. So if you're interested in learning more about what kind of things you can do to consolidate freight or work with your carriers for better lane matching moves, give us a call or send us an email here at TranzAct today. Thanks for your time.